The biggest mistake people are making when teaching online, and this is for instructors of all levels, whether you're in high school or university or even grade school, the biggest mistake instructors, professors are making, teachers are making, is trying to do everything in a synchronous fashion. Now, the best way to teach online, I have taught online for many years, is to break it down into an asynchronous component and a synchronous component. So if you have a 50-minute lecture that you need to get across, and you do that 3 times a week during a live class, whether you're teaching at the undergraduate level or graduate level, whether you're teaching at a small college or a large university, you want to break down that lecture. If it's 2.5 hours or 3 hours or 3.5 hours, you want to break that down into, let's say, 6 components. And then do 3 components in an asynchronous fashion and 3 components in a synchronous fashion. That will take out all the stress that you have to fit all your lessons into that Zoom call. That's not the way to teach online. You want to first have the students watch a video where you cover the basic concepts, and then you want to use the synchronous Zoom version or Zoom session to actually have a discussion on the topics you've covered. And I know many of you are struggling, and you're struggling because you're trying to fit everything into a synchronous session. That's not the way to teach online. The best way to do it is to break it down. And if you are struggling right now, try breaking it down and see how that works out. So if you have a 2.5-hour class, break it down into 6 components. Do 3 components in an asynchronous fashion. So pre-record them and then have the students watch the videos and then spend a half hour on a Zoom call having a discussion. You will find that students are now better prepared for the discussion because they've watched the asynchronous video, and they're going to get more out of the lecture, both from your synchronous Zoom version and your asynchronous pre-recorded version. So that's the way to teach online effectively. Now, how do you prepare the videos? You could record it in the classroom you teach at so that students get the exact experience. You could also record behind a green screen and a whiteboard. That's another way to do it. And so there are a variety of ways in which you could record the video. And then you could also do a voice over computer if you are teaching Excel, or if you're teaching a demonstration where you would need to show students certain steps. You could do it in a voice over Excel or a voice over PowerPoint or another voice over screencast. But the key is to break your videos down into asynchronous videos and synchronous videos. And I will tell you, students are going to appreciate it much better. They're going to be much more prepared for the Zoom call, and they're going to get more out of it. Now, in terms of if you just wanted to do a voice over computer, whatever it is, PowerPoint, Excel, Word, some other program, SAS, or whatever, you want to make sure that your audio is of very good quality. So you want to use an external microphone, and you could use an external lavalier microphone. Those are pretty good. For the actual lecture, do a recording in the classroom where you're giving the students the exact experience, or do a recording behind a green screen and a whiteboard. And here is an illustration. Let's say 6,000 hospitals. Of those, 5,000 are U.S. community hospitals. Of that, 3,000, so that's about 60%, are not-for-profit hospitals. 1,000, so that's about 20%, are for-profit, and the remaining are state and local government hospitals. And so that's the breakdown. Now, in terms of for-profit hospitals, it turns out that out of these... Now, there is another thing I want to point out. If you noticed in that video, I was speaking to a group of people, but there was a very distracting hissing sound coming, even though we were using external microphones and I was talking into the microphone. There was still a very distracting hissing sound. You want to make sure your videos, your asynchronous videos, do not have any background noises. That's very annoying for the student. Now, there are a variety of ways in which you can get rid of that hissing sound. I use Adobe Audition. Adobe Audition gets rid of that hissing sound. So here is that same video without the hissing sound. Let's say 6,000 hospitals. Of those, 5,000 are US community hospitals. Of that, 3,000, so that's about 60%, are not-for-profit hospitals. 1,000, so that's about 20% are for-profit, and the remaining are state and local government hospitals. And so that's the breakdown. Now, in terms of for-profit hospitals, it turns out that out of these... See, that sounds much better. And so my recommendation, the biggest mistake instructors at all levels are making, you are trying to do everything in a Zoom call, and that just does not work very well. Break down your lectures, have a pre-recorded video. Synchronous is live. It's happening synchronously. Asynchronous is pre-recorded. You want to make sure you want to break down your videos into asynchronous and synchronous. Have the students watch the asynchronous video before the class, and then you can have some quizzes to make sure students have watched the video. And if they get the answer wrong, they lose some points, but you're going to get very good engagement. So try that out and let me know in the comments section how good that was and whether you saw a difference in the engagement from students. So that's the biggest mistake instructors are making at all levels. They are not breaking down their videos into synchronous videos and asynchronous videos.